What's going on, everyone? So today we're going to be talking about my Axial Scx10. This is a raw builder's kit. I started building it sometime last year in the spring, and I've had it for about a year now, and I'm going to give you my initial review. So let's get right into it. So this is a rock crawler kit from Axial, and it goes for about $200. Mine was more like $230 from my local hobby shop at the time. And it's been a really good car. So I did have to paint the body. I had to build the axles. Now I'll talk about the build process. The build was super easy. I did notice in the manual, like a lot of the other kits out there, that there was some glitches and like mishaps that said like use this screw and you're supposed to use one that was a lot shorter than that. So just make sure you're looking for things like that, otherwise you might pop through the other end with the screw, and then you gotta cut that off the Dremel. They also, when assembling the transmission, I did notice that I was screwing in these screws and they would just not work. They were super hard to try to thread into the plastic, and so it didn't work. And I ended up having to remove them, and they stripped out while I was removing them, and it was a complete pain. So I had to put in some different ones. So I don't know if that was just my hex drivers weren't that good. That was possible, but do keep an eye out for that. Hexes strip out and it's too bad. But overall, the build process was really good. So after building it, it sat for a while. I wasn't sure what electronics I was going to put in it, and I had actually put an Axial 35 turn motor in it, and that ran good. And then I had a Hobbywing 1080. Now for electronics right now, I have a Hobbywing 1080 with a Reedy Radon 12 turn, I believe. It's the 12 turn brushed motor. Let's see. Yeah, it's a 12 turn 5 slot, and it is adjustable timing, and that is like the perfect setup. It's just enough power to get through the rocks, and it's got plenty of torque, and it's got that punch on 3S. 2S, it's got it too, but like 3S is really good. So those are electronics, and then I got an EcoPower 120T servo with an Axial metal servo horn, aluminum servo horn, and then I was running a Novonic 5200 2S LiPo battery. That's what I ran in the video that you will see in a bit. That is a really good sweet spot for it. It seems to be really good, and you can run it on 3S too. So I'm going to show you how it runs in this video, and then I'm going to come back and tell you about my thoughts about how it runs and what issues there are. I do want to also mention the body I'm running, Proline SR5 19, I don't know the year. It's a Forerunner body, and it's been great. I painted it myself and really happy with it. Got a Proline light bar right here from Scale Accessories. I've only shoe glued and drywall tape just where the body posts are. Other than that, it's held up really well. It's like really strong. You can see in this clip right here that I did end up cutting the edge and where the fenders were so I would get more flex, because I did notice it was catching on a lot of things. Testing it out early on, sometime last year or a little bit longer ago, I noticed it was catching on the rocks, and the wheels were catching, so I just trimmed it and it helped a lot. Tires I'm running are the Proline BFG crawler TAs right here. They're great tires with the stock foams, and the Axial 5-hole beadlock, and that setup right there, those tires are really good. So now you're just gonna see some running footage while we're on our camping trip. Found a great place to go crawling with this, and I took it to its limits. I did get stuck in here, and you'll see some of like the tough spots where it has an issue and the axle catches. So hope you enjoy it, and we'll come back after the running footage and I'll give you my initial thoughts. you enjoyed the running footage. It was such a great place. That beautiful stream with the culvert right next to it. I was crawling over that. There were some really good rocks right there. And now let's talk about the performance. So, you know, it's got plenty of flex. It goes over everything really well. But I do notice the stock shocks, which are these plastic ones right here, are not the best. You know, they're just kind of bouncy, you know. I just push this up and down, it kind of just slams straight down. And the rear does the same thing. That's what they look like. They're just these plastic coilovers. Now, I do plan to get some pro lines eventually, but they're 70 bucks for two, so it's super expensive. I'll do that eventually, so that's definitely a negative thing. I don't like how the shocks are. They're bouncy, and from the minute I ran it out on my course out there and filled them up with oil while I was building it, they started leaking, and they're just bouncy, so my shocks are something worth upgrading. Now, everything else performs amazing. Plenty of steering, but that depends on what servo you have in there. And the tires do really well. I think only other thing to note is that it does roll over because of those shocks, and it does get stuck. You know, it's a straight axle. On those rocks, you can get beached on top of a rock and you can't move. You might have to back up. I think you see that like 2 or 3 times in the video, maybe less. So that's definitely one thing. It doesn't have portals like the TRX4. Now if you take like example with this TRX4 and my Axial, you can see that they're the same exact wheelbase. The same exact wheelbase, 12.3. So the wheelbase matches. Now you can see under here that there's about that much clearance there, and then there's like this much with the portals. So definitely a difference, but I still think for straight axle, it's fantastic. So at the end of the day, would I recommend this? Yes, I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. You know, not giving it a full 5 because, you know, axle catches, tends to roll over. They didn't include the best shocks, but still I think it's a great crawler kit. If you want to build a crawler yourself, you can put any electronics in it. You could put brushless, brushed, or you could just do a super basic stock axial setup, and then you get to choose your body, which is always nice. So definitely recommend it. I'll put a link down below, and I hope you enjoyed this review. I got a couple other ones in my boat coming, and I'll be doing another one on my Typhon again from the full year, but that'll be a little later. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you in the next one. Boom.